wouldn't you know, as soon as we sell everything and we're hitting the road, the world goes crazy. Good morning, friends. Welcome to another day of Vlogmas. Today's gonna be a fun day. Currently we are going to do my morning chore, which is compost. Kenneth has actually already taken care of the rabbits this morning. If you've seen yesterday's vlog, then you've seen that we got a new rabbit on the homestead. We got us a breeding buck, and we are calling him Buck. He is a white New Zealand red-eye. I think they're actually called New Zealand red-eye whites, but that's where he is. I just seen some kind of like, I don't know if it was a chipmunk or a rat or what, just take off running. Compost pile still looks okay. Looks like maybe something may have been digging it in the top of it to get the scraps, but I don't know about that. It may just have been, yeah, you see kind of how it's got a hole in the center. So, I don't know. Something may have been getting into it, but they didn't get very much out of it. Alright, let's get this compost taken care of. We are still composting all of our meat, veggie scraps, basically everything that's food scrap wise. Unless it's something like highly processed that we get on the off chance, like chips. We do like our tortilla chips, and I have not learned. I can make tortilla chips from store-bought tortillas, and we really like those. But I have yet to learn how to make my own tortillas. So, we still buy our tortilla chips. Just because it's easier, and one of Declan's favorite snacks is chips and salsa. And that's just the easiest route for me. One day though, our chips and salsa will all be homemade. If you're my friend over on Instagram, then you know that we recently had a day where my family ate nothing but from scratch food that we made. And by the time I sit down to dinner and realize that, it like blew my mind. Because a year ago, I wouldn't have thought that was possible. At all. Like, I barely knew how to make cornbread from scratch. And I'm from Georgia, where we eat a lot of cornbread. We ground our own pork, and I chose a seasoning blend, and I made our own sausage, and then I made biscuits and gravy and sausage for breakfast. And then we had pickled eggs that I pickled myself, homemade cornbread, pinto beans with pork in them, pepper jelly that I made myself. It was just so good, and it was so amazing that all of the food my family ate that entire day was prepared by me from scratch with my own recipes, my own brain. Like, I did it. That is a freaking homesteading goal. It's just amazing to me. It's those little things right there that mean so much. One day, I hope to be able to say that 80% of my family's food was grown right here on this homestead. I got a little ways to go till that though. I need to aerate this compost. The good thing about it being in this wire is it gets a lot of air around it. But here in the next couple of days, I will actually move the wire and turn the compost to help it break down faster. So last time I don't think I put sticks on top of it to discourage digging. So I went ahead, got us some sticks, put it on there. Maybe it'll keep whatever that was out of it. Doesn't look like any nests have been built. Get down. Come on. Come on. Come here. I don't feel anything on her for sure. That don't mean she ain't, that just means I don't know what I'm doing. But I should, for what people say, I should not have any issues feeling for them at this point.
Cut that tree.
She's been moving just like me.
Cut this.
Hey. Well, I don't.
Well, if they're not, I mean, I got the solution right over there.
I know.
Touch it. I won't touch it.
But he probably won't let you touch him.
So you're thinking we're gonna redo the bottom on this?
Yeah, I don't like, cause like right now this corner, it's kind of a little bit more up off the ground and his feet.
Yeah, so even with the bigger holes in the wire, he still ends up standing on the wire.
I don't like that, so. The wood, they kind of stand more on top of.
Which we were wanting to see if we like the wire or the wood better. And I'm thinking the wood is definitely the way to go. So today is day 26 since the girls have been bred. 28 is usually the due date for rabbits. Some go as long as 30. We will wait at least until day probably 35 before we try to rebreed them, just to be on the safe side. If they don't have babies by then. So the countdown is on. We've got like a week to go to confirm the girls have babies. Now, on to the task of today, sir. Are you excited about the task of today?
No. I have to go to town.
Not just to town, to a big city. We are headed to Florence, South Carolina. It's a pretty good drive away from us, but it's a big city and we need to get Christmas shopping done.
Well, I ain't got a Christmas shop. I got a whole pile of wood over here.
Well, you build him something then. I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
I ain't got to build him nothing. He's over there playing with it.
Oh, you're just gonna give him scrap wood for Christmas?
Buy him a chainsaw, and what's he do? He's out here with a scrap piece of wood sawing something
I
up.
know, man. I like that chainsaw too, and he don't even play with it except for when he's in the house.
Yeah, well.
Rectangle.
But it's a rectangle.
Good job. So today, we're taking y'all with us. We're going Christmas shopping. It does not sound like a whole lot of fun, but on the drive there, we are going to be answering y'all's questions. A couple days ago, I guess back VLOGMAS day 1, so a couple weeks ago.
No questions.
I asked y'all if y'all had any questions for us to leave them in the comments on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
No.
We didn't have that many questions come in, but we did have a few. So on the drive, since it is quite long, we will be answering y'all's questions. Let's go Christmas shopping, see what we can find for a little bit. What do you get a 2-year-old on a homestead who would rather play with scraps of wood?
A shovel.
Shovel. We will find out.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. The first question we got was from Matt Dean with Dean Family Acres, and he wanted to know what would have been our second choice for a homesteading location. And I hate to break it to Matt Dean because I know he loves South Carolina, but South Carolina was not our first choice for a homesteading location. But what was your first choice for a homesteading location?
Originally, we were looking at Kentucky.
Originally it was Kentucky.
And it went to Alabama.
And then we started looking at Alabama. Really, really liked Kentucky, and I have a friend who lives in Kentucky. And that would have been perfect. But we're doing this on a budget, and so we really, really had to consider land prices. And in Kentucky, for our land prices, everything we looked at was like straight up the side of a mountain. And we did not want to start working with that. So unfortunately, our first choice of Kentucky got marked off the list. And then we started looking at Alabama, because we both grew up in Georgia, and Kenneth lived in Alabama at one point in time. And, you know, we love Alabama. We have lots of family near there. So we started looking at Alabama, but we couldn't find anything in Alabama that was in our price range that also had all of the rights to it. So the one property we found that was in our price range that we both really liked the look of did not come with mineral rights. Somebody was already drilling on the land. You could buy the land, but they still had the rights to drill on it, and you did not get paid for that. It was just, so we were not okay with that. We couldn't find anything else that we wanted in Alabama, but we kept it on our radar until we closed on this property. But I kept looking at places in Alabama, and then we were looking at Florida. I like Florida because the governor has done some pretty good things at standing up for Floridians during this time, if you know what I mean. And I really like that about Florida. One main problem with Florida, though, is our soap business. With our soap business in Florida, you can only sell like soap out of your soap business unless you're in a certified licensed facility. Has to be inspected and all that stuff. If you want to do anything like the bath salts we do or anything like that, you have to go through a whole bunch of other steps. It no longer falls under their cottage laws. So that kind of marked Florida off for us, but it was still in the running. I just would have basically had to cut back on the soap business a lot. South Carolina really was not on our radar until we come here. And we were here because I was working as a travel nurse in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we stayed over the state line in South Carolina because it was cheaper. And we really liked South Carolina. So we started looking around us here and found our property, but it's like 3 hours from where we were staying, so it's not even like the same South Carolina. But South Carolina was not #1 on our list. And if you really want to get technical, I did a blog post on my blog over at livingthehightlife.com where I compared all of the states in the United States to find the top 12 states that we would consider for homesteading. I took different things. I know, you were shaking me all over the place.
It's a bouncy road.
It is a bouncy road. South Carolina, fix your roads. I took all of the qualities that were important to us in a homestead and I scored it from 0 to 3. 3 means they absolutely met what we wanted, 0 means they didn't meet it at all. And then I ranked each state according to that criteria. And if you go to the blog post, you can see what each thing was that they were rated on and how they were scored and all that. But anyways, on that list, South Carolina tied for number 6. It didn't even rank close to the top. It was number 6. And I think like 5 states tied for 6. So it was kind of at the bottom of the top 12. So there you go. South Carolina was not our first or second choice, but it is now where we call home. And while it has its issues, we really do love it here. What do you think? Love it here? Okay, so next, Tina Taylor asked us, what made us choose a homesteading life? Woo! If you have watched the video titled Our Story, it's always linked in the description box. It kind of talks about how we made it to this lifestyle, how our journey from living in a more suburban area in a 2,500 square foot house to living in an RV full time to now having an off-grid property. That goes through most of it, but I would say actual homesteading itself was more of an accident. It was not, we didn't set out on this to homestead. We did not sell everything to move to the sticks to homestead. It was not on our radar when we set out. Not at all. Our plan was to travel for a long time and then find a place that we really liked and settle down. But that was it. Like, it was not a off-grid homestead type deal. In fact, I think up until like 6 months ago, Kenneth was not even considering going off-grid. And then it all changed. I would never have called us like preppers, but we did always have like survival stuff, mainly for like hiking and backpacking. But we always had backpacks that had some survival gear in it in case we needed it. Ooh, really bumpy. I have always had a huge pantry that was stocked so we could survive for probably at least 6 months if we needed to in our home. And then we started traveling full time in the RV. And wouldn't you know, as soon as we sell everything and we're hitting the road, the world goes crazy. The world goes crazy. Like, seriously, I remember sitting in my RV. This was after the house was already sold. Like, we were just waiting to close on it. Everything was out of it. We were just in our RV and like trying to, were we still gonna be able to do this? Were we still gonna be able to travel full time? That's when all the lockdowns started. We moved the RV to my sister's because our house had sold. Lockdowns were going on, but we decided to travel anyways, not like irresponsibly. We went and boondocked in forest and private locations. We didn't see anyone else. Like, it was quick runs to the grocery stores and that was it. That's all the contact we had for months. Months. It didn't end. The craziness did not end.
So it still hasn't.
It still hasn't ended, you're right. But as a mama and having a little boy, I need to know that my child is prepared for whatever comes. That he has the skills to survive whatever comes. And I want to do it off grid because the grid is not foolproof. Ask Texas. They froze last winter. They had no power. People died because they did not know how to survive off grid. People literally froze because they did not have the ability to live off grid and stay warm. On top of that, you know, all the shortages and everything, I needed to have my safety net back of our food supply and all of our gear that we can just hunker down and provide for our family when we need to. We didn't choose the homesteading life. Like, we didn't just say, okay, we're gonna homestead. It was just kind of a gradual thing that we just slowly, gradually went towards. I blame YouTube. We weren't really into learning all of this until YouTube, and we are where we are. Now we're on YouTube sharing the love. Maybe we'll convert somebody else to being a homesteader too. You never know. One other question I've been asked recently that I just want to go ahead and address is, where are Vlogmas videos 9 and 10? So I did record a Vlogmas video for day 9. I did not record one for day 10. I never posted day 9. The reasoning for that is, for Vlogmas days 9 and 10, we actually had to go out of town to our hometown that's 7 hours away to attend the funeral of my grandfather, my papa. And I did record a video to let y'all know that, but when it come down to it, I just wanted to focus on time with my family and grieving with my family and not worry about Vlogmas. So I did miss 2 days so far. I hope y'all excuse me for that, but that's where those videos are. They don't exist. Sorry. And we did get some mail in, so I wanted to share with y'all. We got a Christmas card, or a holiday card, from Dee's Homestead. It says Happy Holidays from Dee's Homestead. So thank you, Dee's Homestead, for the Christmas card. We did get it. We appreciate you thinking of us during this time. Love getting these Christmas cards in the mail. I am awful about mailing out Christmas cards. The worst. Like, awful. So, if y'all wonder where y'all's Christmas cards are for me, they haven't been in the mail yet. Sorry. Look, if y'all have small kids and you live in a tiny space like we do, this right here is the best thing ever. It's a tricycle that doubles as a stroller. So it's got its own little push handle. It's got a footrest. It actually comes with like a shade cover too, and a platform where it's got like musical things for little bitty babies and stuff. And it's got harness straps to keep him from getting out. But then this comes off, that comes off, and these actually come off, and the backrest comes off, and it turns into a tricycle. It is awesome. So bicycle and stroller all in one.